So I'd say the people that approach me are oftentimes people who have tried many times to lose weight and have exhausted most options that they have found on their own. My name is Brad Beatty, and this is my advice. So how I personally got into the field that I'm in now is what I would say a super uninteresting story. I like to work out and exercise whenever I was in high school, and I didn't really want to go to college right away, but I was encouraged to go to college, and so I did. I didn't go for exercise because I got a personal training certification right when I got out of right when I got out of high school, and then I decided to go this route of a registered dietitian, knowing that there were a lot of job opportunities, whether it be in a hospital or in a private practice setting like I work now. I talk to people every single day about weight loss. That's something that a lot of people have an interest in, or a lot of people are currently seeking out and striving for, or something they want to be seeking out and striving for. And one of the most common faults that I'll see in a lot of people's plan is wanting to focus too much on some of the specifics in the beginning. The carnivore diet, which is involving eating just meats, or a keto is a big diet that is tossed around. There's lots of fasting and fasting mimicking diets that are being tossed around as well right now too. The good of a fad diet is that they are very clear and laid out and simple because they have some specific focuses that they emphasize. And that's what attracts a lot of people to them, is that they are very simple, and so you look at it and say, okay, well, I could do just that one thing, or I could cut out just that one thing. The bad is typically that specific focus is a little bit too extreme and unnecessary, which ends up making it unsustainable. Something that I try to do is almost reel them back and get them focusing on some of the foundations instead, because the specifics a lot of times will help get results, but they aren't the things that help keep the results that they may get. And this is why you'll see a lot of times people struggle with losing weight and then regaining it, and losing weight and then regaining it, is because there will be a short-term focus on some specific things that help to produce weight loss, but then they don't have a good foundation to help them maintain that weight loss in the future. Throughout COVID, that's whenever I saw a big uptick in a lot of weight gain and unhealthy eating habits. And what that really revealed in a lot of instances was how damaging a lack of meal structure can be. So whenever everybody shifted to working at home and they kind of took the structure away from their day, that resulted in this irregularity of eating patterns, and that ended up resulting in lots of individuals struggling with some weight gain and that kind of thing. Another aspect of COVID that changed diets and changed how people's health was affected was that there was high amounts of stress. So the past 2 years, there have been lots of individuals struggling with higher stress levels, and oftentimes a easy thing to turn to help manage stress is food. And so that's something else that contributed to the weight gains that many people saw throughout the past 2 years with the pandemic. There's three main things that I like to focus on for the foundations. I'd call them the 3 M's. You have meal rhythm, meal structure, and your movement. And this is something that I would recommend to anybody if they're trying to lose weight or just make any kind of dietary change in general. So an ideal weight should take into account a couple things. It should take into account where you feel your best, and then it should take into account what's sustainable while checking your healthy boxes, I'd call. So say somebody is doing their foundations, they have a good meal rhythm, a good meal structure, and they are moving on a regular basis, and they're at a weight that might not be healthy on a BMI scale, but they're at a weight that feels good to them, and they're doing those healthy things with it. For them, that could be their ideal body weight. So ideal body weight is where do you feel the best, and what can you sustain while checking your healthy boxes and doing healthy behaviors and managing those foundations well. So when I say meal structure, with that, I'm just referring to kind of the rhythm at which you're consuming meals throughout the day. Could be if you're eating a 3 meals a day kind of setup, or maybe you have 4 smaller meals throughout the day, something like that. A lot of times I'll see people will only have maybe a couple days a week where they do have a consistent meal rhythm, which can make their intake just very inconsistent in general. Or one of the most common things I'll see is people have a really good meal rhythm throughout the week, and then their meal rhythm on the weekends will get totally derailed. And those 2 days are enough to kind of undo any progress that they may be making on their weekdays. And so a great starting point is just focusing on the foundation of establishing a good meal rhythm on a day-to-day basis. And maybe that is saying, I'm going to have 3 meals a day and snacks just when I'm feeling hungry. So that's one of the easiest, simplest places to start. It doesn't cost anything to anybody, and it's something that anybody can do just by investing some time and effort and intentionality. So that would be the first foundation. I'd say the second foundation would be your meal structure. And this is a great place to go once you've established a good meal rhythm. And the meal structure is just what types of foods are you seeking out to have at a certain meal. So a lot of times meals will be very unbalanced or may only be composed of single food items. So just establishing a good structure of what you want your meals to look like is really a great second starting point after you have a good meal rhythm down. One of the best places to start with that is to look at what are called macronutrients. So that's a buzzword that you might hear a lot on social media and just in the media. What macronutrients are they are just nutrients that contain calories. There's 3 of them. There's protein, carbs, and fats. So a great meal structure to start with is just striving to get one of each of those at each of your meals because they all have an important purpose. Proteins, if you're envisioning a car, proteins are like the body and the frame of a car. Fats, those are like the oil and the grease on the car that kind of keeps it operating properly. And then your carbohydrates are like the gas to the car to help fuel it. First, establishing a good meal rhythm, then establishing a good meal structure, striving to have a good protein food and carb food and fat food at each of your meals. That's a great second step. To provide some examples, sometimes someone might just be eating some toast for breakfast. So a good way to adjust that meal structure could be by having, instead of just a plain piece of toast, having that toast with some peanut butter on it to get a healthy fat, plus having maybe a Greek yogurt to get some good protein. Another example, someone might be having a salad at lunch with some oil-based dressing. So instead of just having that salad and the oil-based dressing, maybe having some black beans added to their salad along with maybe some chicken breast or a tuna packet added to the salad for some protein, carbs, and then the oils giving them the good fats that they want. So just simple changes like that, and that's another thing similar to the meal rhythm. Doesn't really cost anything, and it is very easy to implement on a day-to-day basis. It just takes that intentionality and consistency. And the last foundation is movement. So a lot of us have what would be considered a relatively sedentary lifestyle through no fault of our own. That's just the nature of work and everything in today's world. Even myself, I am sitting talking to people on a day-to-day basis. So I have what would be considered a very sedentary lifestyle. So a lot of times that is just involving artificially creating more movement throughout your day. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a structured exercise plan. But a great place to start is just doing some of the basics, like going for a walk in the evening, parking farther away, standing up and listening to the annoying buzzes that your watch might give you telling you to stand up and get some steps in. Those are some great ways to start just adding movement to your day. So just looking at all of that, I would say best place to start for weight loss is to focus on those 3 foundations: your meal rhythm, establishing some good meal times and using snacks more of a as needed kind of thing; your meal structure, focusing on trying to have some consistency to the types of foods you're choosing at each meal. I would recommend maybe that macronutrient idea. and then focusing on your movement, trying to just add more movement throughout your day or get into some type of exercise program, or even just going to the gym and walking on the treadmill is a great place to start. And once you start laying that foundation and have those foundational focuses on a very consistent basis, you're at a great point to start focusing on more of the specifics, which can help you make even more results, and then you can have the confidence knowing that you'll be able to sustain those results because you have a good foundation built already. So something that most people don't know is that a lot of times seeing a registered dietitian will be covered through their health insurance at little or no cost to them. So I am in network with most major insurance plans. And so that's one of the benefits of seeing a dietitian, is a lot of times you can receive the care and the help you need at little to no cost to you.
If we knew then all that we know now, I think the world would be better somehow.